Morning. One of the things that happened this morning and actually got me to thinking about the larger facilities and what attracts people to them. Could just be amenities, it could be location, it could be opportunity. It could be a really good show barn that gives you opportunity and exposure. It could be the care. It could be your friends are there, whatever attracts people to those larger facilities with, as many as 90 horses there. But what I wonder is considered is the things like if your horse needed something different than the daily routine, would there be adjustments? Would there be the flexibility for adjustments? Or is turnout time specifically turnout time? Feeding time is specifically feeding time, like on a regimented schedule? And the reason I'm asking is because this morning, Tucker decided post-breakfast that he needed a nap. He needed to lay down. And a baby laying down is not unusual. Him laying down right away was just something that caught my attention, but didn't catch my attention in a oh my gosh, what's wrong way. It caught my attention in a, well, let him take a nap way. The little boy's growing. He's definitely growing. He's definitely growing. So it's possible, his body said, I need to get off my legs and lay down for a second. So they're the last two, Daisy and Tucker, the last two to go out in the morning. And then after they go out, I begin my barn chores. And after I noticed that he was laying down, I had made the decision that I'll just start my barn chores. And when I hear that he's up, because I'm in the barn with him, I'll just turn him out then, whenever he gets up. That got me thinking about facilities that may not make those accommodations, facilities that may not notice or care, that might go in there to a horse that's laying down and be like, come on, gotta go, turnout time, and may not even like take the time to go, why is this horse laying down? Now the baby, obviously he's growing, he just had a meal, taking a nap wouldn't be an unusual thing, but if an adult horse lays back down after breakfast, first off, I would check to make sure he actually ate his breakfast. Second off, I would check his water. I would check his stall for manure, and I would question, why is he laying down? That would be my first thing. I wouldn't just be like, come on, turnout time, get up. But I wonder how many just scheduled staff members really would just, got to get a job done. I'm not in any way trying to claim that the larger facilities aren't properly staffed with considerate and compassionate people that would stop and take note to something like that. I mean, that's part of their job also, right? However, I have been connected to, one reason or another, farms where I've been told we have too many horses for that in certain things, or we don't have time for that. A lot of places will say they don't have time for groundwork. We don't have time for that, So you have time to wrestle with this horse in and out of turnout, say, every single time you take him in and out to turnout, instead of taking the time, whether it's just for your own safety or for your staff's safety, to work with this horse, to get this horse to understand his job. That's it. You just got to get him to understand his job. His job is to walk like a gentleman or a lady with you on the way in and out of turnout. But instead, you'd rather this ill-behaved horse bounce around next to you and create dangerous situations for you and your staff. I'm not saying that there's a specific situation that I'm referring to, but I have been told in like type situations, we don't have time for that. I've been told in situations of like special feeding needs and things like that. We have too many horses for that. They just get fed what we feed them. Yet the client believes that their horse gets fed a certain type of food. I'm just curious how important that is to some people. If your horse really is just a piece of sports equipment and you don't really care how it's taken care of as long as it's ready to go when you get there. I guess when I made the adjustment for Tucker this morning, so many things were in consideration. One, he just laid down, so we have a little bit of time. I can do a little something else while I wait. The other thing that was in consideration is he's in a nice, dry, fluffy, comfortable bed with his mommy with a full belly. Probably the best place for that nap to take place. If I forced him to get up and walk out to his paddock and he still felt the strong urge to take a nap, he may have decided to lay down, yes, and it probably wouldn't have been a big deal. But here's the thing. The grass is wet. The grass is cold. The wind is strong. There's nothing about that nap that would be as restful as if I had let him rest in his stall. Once he stood up, he was ready to go. Let's go out, right? And now he's revved up and ready. Now, does that mean in an hour he's not going to take another nap? No, of course not. But at least the one that I could accommodate was a good one. It was a comfortable, warm, fluffy bedded one, and I feel good about having the opportunity to make those adjustments for him. I had a senior horse that used to live with me, and she was kind of ruled by her senior partner. He was kind of strict with her, but they loved each other, but he controlled her pretty much every move. If she wanted to go over here, he'd tell her no, and she'd comply. So at the end of the day, we would just let her in, and she would decide to go to the far end of the barn and explore. And when she was ready, when she was done doing her own independent moment, she would meet us at the next door, and we would finish walking into the rest of the barn. It was her thing, and we accommodated that. And then when she would get out of the stall in the morning, she would be stiff. She was senior, and I would change my time schedule to accommodate the horses. I would not expect her to have moved faster than she was comfortable moving to accommodate me. And I'm just wondering, when people make those decisions about where they keep a horse, do they ask those kinds of questions? Like, is it matter to you if your horse needs a little time to work out the kinks? Is that place going to just drag your horse at the end of a line until your horse finally catches up? Or is that place going to be like, it's okay, girl, you take your time? Just curious what kind of search people make when they make the decision to put a horse in a certain facility. And does the size of the facility concern you? Or if it is a big facility, do you pay attention to the staff, not only to the amount of staff members, but to the attendance of the staff members? Does it seem like there's always one missing? You know what I mean? Like, is there always one that's always calling out sick? That kind of thing. Leaving everybody in a frantic, short-staffed frame of mind, in a frame of urgency and, well, aggravation. Horses really do recognize energy. So if people are frustrated, if people are angry, people are, stressed out or overwhelmed, horses feel that. And they feel it without definition. So they just feel the anxiety. They don't actually know what the anxiety is attached to. And even if you could explain it to them, they don't get it. All they feel is a shaken soda person, human, that has strong energy and an anxiety level that now is going to make them nervous or anxious themselves, or even, scared, defensive, whatever. Like, there's so many factors that go into a really, really well-rounded, well cared for emotionally. I don't know. I take so much consideration into how I care for the horses, that I wonder if people even like check into that when they're checking into a place that they want to keep their horse at. So it's a long, drawn out question, but when you look for a new facility, do you really look into places that you strongly believe would accommodate your horse? If your horse is a little stiff, will they walk slower? If your horse otherwise has no independent moments of its own, would you give it that one moment to go do something all by itself without its leader pushing it around? If it needs to lay down because it's a growing baby, would you say you can lay down outside, get up? If it's a full-grown horse and it's laying down, would you investigate why? Those are the questions I sure would ask. Just curious if people even think to ask those questions.